We use it every single day, but have you ever really stopped to think about what money is? I mean, it's so much more than just a bunch of paper and coins, right? It's really an idea that completely changed the course of human history. So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down, from the very first trades all the way to our modern global economy. Okay, so to start, I want you to do something. Just for a second, picture a world with no money at all. How would you get your morning coffee, or lunch, or pay for a bus ride? You'd have to trade something you physically have for every single thing you need. Sounds like a huge headache, doesn't it? Well, it absolutely was. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll see what that world without money was really like. Then we'll dig into all the problems with the old school barter system. After that, we'll see how money came along and fixed everything. And finally, we'll look at how economists actually measure all the money floating around today. Sound good? Let's do it. So way back, long before ATMs, credit cards, or even coins, the world ran on barter. It was literally the original way of doing business. I'll give you my stuff if you give me your stuff. Simple as that. Now, the official term for this is a CC economy, which just stands for commodity for commodity. So let's say you're a farmer and you've got extra wheat. You could swap that wheat directly with a weaver to get some new cloth. No money ever changes hands. It's a straight-up trade. But here's where it gets really tricky. For that system to work, you need something called a double coincidence of wants. Think about what that means. You, the farmer, have to find someone who wants your wheat, and that same person has to have the exact thing you want, the cloth. What if the weaver doesn't need wheat? What if they need shoes instead? Well, then the trade just doesn't happen. You're stuck. Imagine trying to do your weekly grocery shopping that way. It'd be almost impossible. And that whole matchmaking nightmare, that was honestly just the beginning. The barter system was absolutely riddled with problems that made it super inefficient. It basically put a hard cap on how complex or large an economy could ever get. The issues were just fundamental. I mean, besides finding someone to trade with, how would you even agree on a price? Is one bag of wheat worth one shirt or two or maybe half a shirt? There's no common yardstick. And how could you save for the future? Your savings would be a pile of goods that could rot or spoil. You couldn't take out a loan. You couldn't make future plans. It was a total mess. So it's pretty clear the barter system was holding everybody back. And this is where money walks onto the stage. It was a truly revolutionary invention that came along and solved every single one of those problems, paving the way for the world we know today. Now, here's the most important thing to get about money. It's not about what it's made of. It could be shells or beads or metal or even just numbers in a computer. Money is defined by what it does. If something can perform these 4 critical jobs, hey, it can be money. And this right here shows just how brilliant the solution was. Look at how each function of money directly solves a major problem of barter. That whole double coincidence of wants, gone because money is a medium of exchange. No way to set prices, solved because money is a measure of value. Can't save up or make loans? Money fixes that by being a store of value and a standard for deferred payments. It's a perfect fix. Okay, so we know what money does, which leads to the next big question. Just how much of it is actually out there? You can bet that economists and central banks need to keep a very close eye on that. The total amount of money in an economy is called the money supply. Now, a really key detail here is that this only counts the money held by the public, that's people and businesses. It doesn't include the money held by the government or the central bank itself. Think of it like a snapshot.
It's a measurement of all the money in circulation at one specific moment in time.
But money isn't just one simple thing. To get the full picture, central banks, like the Reserve Bank of India, actually use a few different ways to measure it. They give them these simple names, M1, M2, M3, M4, and each one gets a little bit broader than the one before it. So let's start with M1. This is the narrowest, most basic measure. You can think of M1 as the right now money. It's the most liquid, which is just a fancy way of saying it's the easiest to spend immediately. We're talking about the actual cash and coins in your pocket, plus all the money in checking accounts, what economists call demand deposits, because you can demand it back anytime you want.
Okay, this chart might look a little intense at first, but the idea is actually really simple. It's like those Russian nesting dolls. You start with the smallest one, M1, which is the most liquid money. Then M2 includes everything in M1 plus things like savings and a post office account. M3 gets even bigger by adding in time deposits from banks, like a fixed deposit that you can't touch right away. And M4 is the biggest of them all. The main takeaway is just that we have different categories for money, from narrow to broad, depending on how easily it can be spent.
So we've gone on quite a journey, huh? From trading wheat for cloth all the way to M4. So let's just zoom out for a second and bring it all together. Why is this invention so incredibly important?
You know, this quote really nails it. Without money, that incredibly complex web of buying, selling, investing, and saving that defines our world, well, it just couldn't exist. It's the common language that our entire global economy speaks. It is the foundation stone.
And it's pretty cool when you think about it. The form of money's always changing, from shells to coins to paper and now to digital bits whizzing around on servers. The four core functions stay the same, but the technology keeps evolving. And understanding these fundamentals really makes you wonder, what's next? What will the money of the future actually look like?